Medina Surah, the bulk of which is taken to refer to the Jewish clan of Banu al-Nadir, who originally agreed with the Prophet ﷺ that they would fight neither for nor against him. Yet, after the Meccan defeat of the Muslims in the Battle of Uhud, made an alliance with the Meccans. They also tried to kill the Prophet ﷺ while he was in their area. He asked them to leave and they agreed. But Ibn Ubay, the head of the hypocrites of Medina, promised them that if they fought the Muslims, he and his camp would fight with them. And if they had to leave Medina, he and his camp would leave with them. Because the Banu al-Nadir had repeatedly broken their agreements, the Muslims besieged them in Medina. Ibn Ubay did not keep his promise and the Banu al-Nadir agreed to leave, some going to Syria and some to Khaybar. In this surah, the Quran stresses that any gains were God's doing and so should be distributed in accordance with his instructions. The end of the surah, consequently, emphasizes obedience and awe towards God. The surah takes its name from the gathering of forces in verse 2. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. Everything in the heavens and earth glorifies God. He is the Almighty, the Wise. It was He who drove those of the people of the book who broke faith out from their homes at the first gathering of forces. You believers never thought they would go, and they themselves thought their fortifications would protect them against God. God came upon them from where they least expected and put panic into their hearts. Their homes were destroyed by their own hands and the hands of the believers. Learn from this, all of you with insight. If God had not decreed departure for them, He would have tormented them even more severely in this world. In the hereafter, they will have the torment of the fire, because they set themselves against God and His messenger. God is stern in punishment towards anyone who sets himself against Him. Whatever you believers may have done to their palm trees, cutting them down or leaving them standing on their roots, was done by God's leave, so that He might disgrace those who defied Him. You believers did not spur on your horses or your camels for whatever gains God turned over to His messenger from them. God gives authority to His messengers over whoever He will. God has power over all things. Whatever gains God has turned over to His messenger from the inhabitants of the villages belong to God. The messenger, kinsfolk, orphans, the needy, the traveler in need. This is so that they do not just circulate among those of you who are rich. So accept whatever the messenger ﷺ gives you and abstain from whatever he forbids you. Be mindful of God. God is severe in punishment. The poor migrants who are driven from their homes and possessions, who seek God's favor and approval, those who help God and His messenger, these are the ones who are true, shall have a share. Those who are already firmly established in their homes in Medina and firmly rooted in faith show love for those who migrated to them for refuge and harbor no resentment in their hearts for what has been given to them. They give them preference over themselves, even if they too are poor. Those who are saved from their own souls' greed are truly successful. Those who came after them say, Lord, forgive us our sins and the sins of our brothers who believed before us, and leave no malice in our hearts toward those who believe. Lord, you are truly compassionate and merciful.
Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the beginning of the surah, He mentioned that it was by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's permission that they were banished, right? They were sent out, that they weren't killed. They were sent to different places, as author mentioned, in Syria and Khaybar. And also what happened is that when they fortified themselves, they had trees. And yes, the default premise is that you don't cut any trees. Even in war, you don't cut trees. But here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed for these trees to be cut down, and He says, مَا قَطَعْتُم مِّن مِّينَةٍ أَوْ تَرَكْتُمُوهَا قَائِمَةً عَلَى أُصُولِهَا فَبِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَلِيُخْزِيَ الْفَاسِقِينَ. It was by the permission, the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to humiliate the people who are disobedient, right? So then also, there's a concept of fay. Fay is different than ghanima, okay? What is ghanima? Anybody know what ghanima is? War booty, right? Fay is similar, but when no fighting takes place. Right? What happened here? Was there a battle that took place here? No. They submitted. They surrendered. So what happens in Fay? Fay is distributed according to however the commander would distribute it. During the time of the Prophet ﷺ, that would go to the Prophet ﷺ and his family, and after they took whatever they needed for a year, the rest of it is distributed among the soldiers. But ghanima, it's very specific. That 1/5 is for Allah and His Messenger. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَأَنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى. Right, 1/5 is distributed to Allah and His Messenger ﷺ, and the rest goes to the soldiers. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He also describes the Muhajirun and the Ansar. How does He describe the Muhajirun? How does He describe the Ansar? And how does He describe those that came after them? Okay, the Ansar, they welcomed them. They treated them better than themselves. وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. They gave them, even though they gave to them, even though they themselves were in need. The Ansar, right? Not all the Ansar were rich. Not all the Ansar were people that they thought that, okay, this is just extra, take whatever you want. No, they would give even if they, وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ, even though they themselves, there were times when they needed things, they said, if I'm hungry, I know that this person is hungry, so I have food, I'm going to eat half of it, or 1/4 of it, and spread it to 3 different people. That's the Ansar mentality. Okay, how does He describe the Muhajirun?
They sought Allah's favors.
They sought Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure over everything else, over their house, over their wealth, over anything that they had. And they are the ones, أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الصَّادِقُونَ. They were true in their claims that they loved Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam more than anyone or anything else. Right? They weren't those that said that, okay, we love Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but then let's see what worldly benefit it could bring us. So can we keep our family? Okay, if we can keep our family, then we may not believe in Allah. If we keep our wealth, we may not believe in the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. No, they weren't like that. They said, if it means we have to sacrifice our wealth, our lives, our property, our children, anything for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were willing to do so. Here, then how does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describe those who follow them? And who are the people that are among those that follow them? They were? No, this is not referring to them. This is referring to us. وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Here it says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاءُوا مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ. Those that came after them, meaning all of us. We come after the Muhajirun, we come after the Ansar, we come after the companions of Allah. Because whoever is accepted during the time of the Prophet, they're considered from the companions. Okay? Those that come after the companions, what do? They make dua for the companions. They make dua for the righteous. They make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, رَبَّنَا اغْفِرْ لَنَا وَلِإِخْوَانِنَا الَّذِينَ سَبَقُونَا بِالْإِيمَانِ. Oh Allah, forgive us and forgive those of us that have preceded us in faith. وَلَا تَجْعَلْ فِي قُلُوبِنَا غِلًّا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Don't put in our hearts any malice, hatred, bad feelings towards anyone who has believed. رَبَّنَا إِنَّكَ رَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. Allah, you are forgiving, you are merciful. Right? Those that come after them, it means that the people that come after them, right? We can never reach the level of the companions of Allah, whether the Muhajirun or the Ansar, because they have sabr. Right? They fought for Islam, they spread Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not only chose the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but He chose the people to surround the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as well. So we follow them, we come after them, we make dua for them, we have good opinion about them, and we try to follow the examples that they sent down, radiyallahu anhu. The next set of ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the agreement between Abdullah ibn Ubay and the Jews. Abdullah ibn Ubay went to them and said that if you're fought, we'll fight with you. If they force you to leave, we'll leave with you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if they fight, they're not going to fight with them. And if they are forced to leave, they're not going to leave with them. Allah yashhadu innahum lakadibun. That Allah is that witness and testifies that these people are liars. And this is something you can always trust a munafiq to do, is to lie. You can always count on a munafiq lying. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes their characteristic. That's why we have to be very, very careful that we stay away from lying and we avoid the reputation of being a liar.
Have you, Prophet ﷺ, considered the hypocrites who say to their fellows, the faithless among the people of the book? If you are driven out, we shall go with you. We would never listen to anyone who sought to harm you. And if you are attacked, we shall certainly come to your aid. God bears witness that they are in fact liars. If they are driven out, they will never leave with them. If they are attacked, they will never help them. Even if they did come to their aid, they would soon turn tail and flee. In the end, they would have no help. Fear of you believers is more intense in their hearts than fear of God, because they are people devoid of understanding. Even united, they would never fight you, except from within fortified strongholds or behind high walls. There is much hostility between them. You think they are united, but their hearts are divided, because they are people devoid of reason. Like those who went just before them, they have tasted the result of their conduct, and a painful punishment awaits them. Like Shaitan, who says to man, "Do not believe." But when man disbelieves, says, "I disown you, I fear God, the Lord of the worlds." Both will end up in fire, there to remain. That is the reward of the evildoers. You who believe, be mindful of God, and let every soul consider carefully what it sends ahead for tomorrow. Be mindful of God, for God is well aware of everything you do. Do not be like those who forget God. Do not be like those who forget God, so God causes them to forget their own souls. They are the rebellious ones. There is no comparison between the inhabitants of fire and the inhabitants of paradise. And the inhabitants of paradise are the successful ones. If we had sent this Qur'an down to a mountain, you, Prophet ﷺ, would have seen it humbled and split apart in its awe of God. We offer people such illustrations so that they may reflect. He is God. There is no God other than Him. It is He who knows what is hidden as well as what is in the open. He is the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. He is God. There is no God other than Him, the controller, the Holy One, source of peace, grantor of security, guardian over all, the Almighty, the compeller, the truly great. God is far above anything they consider to be His partner. He is God, the creator, the originator, the shaper. The best names belong to Him. Everything in the heavens and earth glorifies Him. He is the Almighty, the wise.
Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, have you seen the ones أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ نَافَقُوا يَقُولُونَ لِإِخْوَانِهِمُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. Have you seen the ones that from the munafiqun that go to their brothers from the Ahl al-Kitab? Right? So there's always going to be a relationship between the munafiqun and the disbelievers trying to work against Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the reality, but they always fail. They always fail. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that Shaitan will try to misguide a person, and when a person is misled, he'll say, إِنِّي بَرِيءٌ مِّنْكُمْ إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهِ. That I'm free from you, I have nothing to do with you, I fear Allah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said both of them will be in the fire. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to prepare for tomorrow. Oh, you believe, be mindful of Allah, let every soul consider carefully what it sends ahead for tomorrow. Tomorrow means the hereafter, because literally tomorrow can be the last day that we're here. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there's no comparison between the people of paradise and the people of hellfire. The people of paradise are always the successful ones. Talks about the greatness of the Qur'an, how you would have seen mountains crumbling because they understand how great this Qur'an is. Then it describes who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. And then He says that وَلَوْ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala belong the best names, and everything in the heavens and the earth glorifies Him. He is the Almighty, the All-Wise subhanahu wa ta'ala. So even if we don't glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it doesn't matter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because everything in the heavens and earth glorify Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah Mumtahina, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about women being tested, and this is after the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. During the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, the condition of one of the terms was if any Muslim man from Mecca comes to Medina, he has to be sent back. Okay? So what ended up happening was that the Prophet ﷺ knew he had to send him back, so they would go to Jeddah, and then eventually what happened was the mushrikun said, we can't handle these people, just take them to Medina with you. You have control over them, they'll listen to you, they're not listening to us, we don't have any control over them, right? So the question was that what happens to the woman? If a Muslim woman comes from Mecca to Medina during this treaty, does she have to be sent back or not? And that ruling is discussed in this surah. Also, the concept of al-wala wal-bara is also mentioned in this surah, that Ibrahim alayhi salam, right? He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that Ibrahim alayhi salam, you have the best example for you, except for that dua that Ibrahim alayhi salam said that he'll make dua for his father after he passed away. He's not allowed to do that. Also, the difference in our relationship with people of the book is also mentioned here. Not all people of the book are equal. There are some that are very kind, compassionate, understanding. So we are very kind with them. We're understanding. We're compassionate towards them as well. But there are those that are very hostile. Those that are hostile, we don't cross any limits. We don't cross any limits, nor do we compromise the principles of our faith either. Right? So this is all mentioned in the surah as well.
The Medina Surah revealed between the Treaty of Hudaybiyah and the conquest of Mecca, which takes its title from verse 10. Instructions are given on how to deal with women who leave Mecca and join the Muslims, and the procedure for wives who leave Medina for Mecca. The Muslims are instructed on the appropriate allocation of their loyalties, and Ibrahim a.s. is cited for them as an example to learn from. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. You who believe, do not take my enemies and yours as your allies, showing them friendship when they have rejected the truth you have received, and have driven you and the Messenger ﷺ out simply because you believe in God, your Lord. Not if you truly migrated in order to strive for my cause and seek my good pleasure. You secretly show them friendship. I know all you conceal and all you reveal, but any of you who do this are straying from the right path. If they gain the upper hand over you, they will revert to being your enemies and stretch out their hands and tongues to harm you. It is their dearest wish that you may renounce your faith. Neither your kinsfolk nor your children will be of any use to you on the day of resurrection. He will separate you out. God sees everything you do. You have a good example in Ibrahim a.s. and his companions, when they said to their people, we disown you, and what you worship besides God. We renounce you until you believe in God alone. The enmity and hatred that has arisen between us will endure, except when Ibrahim a.s. said to his father, I will pray for forgiveness for you, though I cannot protect you from God. They prayed, Lord, we have put our trust in you, we turn to you. You are our final destination. Lord, do not expose us to mistreatment at the hands of the disbelievers. Forgive us, Lord, for you are the Almighty, the All-Wise. Truly, they are a good example for you believers to follow, a good example for those who fear God on the last day. If anyone turns away, remember, God is self-sufficing and worthy of all praise.
One of the reasons this surah was revealed was there was a companion, Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a, who he had family in Mecca. He didn't have any family in Mecca, sorry. He just had his immediate family, his wife and his children in Mecca. And he wanted to do something for the Meccans so that they would protect his family, like his wife and his children. So what he did was, when he found out that the Prophet ﷺ and the Muslims were going to march on Mecca because the Meccans had broken the treaty, he wrote a letter and sent it with this woman. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He inspired the Prophet ﷺ and informed him that this is what happened. So the Prophet ﷺ said, Ali radiallahu anhu, Miqdad radiallahu anhu, and said, go and find this woman and take the letter from her and bring it back to me. Right? So they went, and the woman first, she said that, no, I don't have it. So Ali radiallahu anhu, right? And this is something we have to understand about the companions radiallahu anhu. Abu Bakr, Ali, Umar, Uthman, all of them. They were They were very calm and compassionate, but there were times when they were very, very serious. Right? Everybody knows that Umar radiallahu anhu, he had more of a temper than Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. But when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu got mad or got serious, even Umar radiallahu anhu would just put his head down. What happened? Give me an example. Like an example was that the people who were preventing from giving zakat, Umar radiallahu anhu said that maybe we can go talk to them and we can talk to them. And then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, Wallahi, if they prevent one sheep or one camel that they used to give the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they don't give it to me, I'm going to fight them over. Then Umar radiallahu anhu understood, okay, that's it. I can't say anything else. Right? So Ali radiallahu anhu, yes, he was very fair, very just, but this time he knew that it wasn't just about this woman, it wasn't just about him, it was the betterment of the whole Muslim Ummah. So he said, in very strong words, he said that I know that you have the letter. Either you're going to give it to me or I'm going to take it from you. Then finally she undid her braids and these things, and then she took out the letter and she gave it. He didn't open the letter. He brought it back to the Prophet ﷺ. And then the Prophet ﷺ asked Hatib ibn Abi Balta' radiallahu anhu, what happened? Why did you do this? So as soon as they found out, Umar radiallahu anhu, again, getting very upset, he said, let me chop off his neck. That's it. This is treason. It is treason. So the Prophet ﷺ said, no. Don't you know that he participated in the battle of Badr? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he looked at the battle of people who participated in the battle of Badr and said, do whatever you want, for Allah has forgiven you. So Hatib radiallahu anhu, he realized, right, he made a mistake. He made a mistake. Right, it's a big mistake that he made, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected the Muslims from facing the consequences of this mistake, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was understanding, and then even after that, even though people, everybody knows, right, all the Mufassirin, all the Riwayah Hadith, they know that this, he did this. No one treated him poorly. No one said, okay, because you did this during the time of the Prophet sallallahu, therefore we're going to look down upon you. No. He went to the people and said, you all had family there. You had your tribes, you had other, I had nobody. So I was trying to look out for my own family. He made a mistake. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave him for this mistake. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that don't show them friendship when they have rejected the truth you have received and driven you and the messenger out simply because you believe in Allah. You think that they're going to be able to help you, but once they get the upper hand over you, they will revert to being your enemies and stretch out their hands and tongues to harm you. It is the dearest wish that you may renounce your faith. So this is what they want, you to give up your faith. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks a little bit about Ibrahim alayhi salam and mentions that you have a good example in how he respected his parents, right? And he was kind to them, he was generous to them, but he did not compromise the principles of his faith when they threatened him. Either you get stoned, and they tried to burn him, he said, Salamun alaykum. He left them. Because his faith was more dear to him than his family. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the next set of ayat, he'll mention about the differences that I mentioned about the people of the book.
God may still bring about affection between you and your present enemies. God is all-powerful, God is most forgiving and merciful. And He does not forbid you to deal kindly and justly with anyone who has not fought you for your faith or driven you out of your homes. God loves the just. But God forbids you to take as allies those who have fought against you for your faith, driven you out of your homes, and helped others to drive you out. Any of you who take them as allies will truly be wrongdoers. You who believe, test the believing women when they come to you as immigrants. As immigrants, God knows best about their faith. And if you are sure of their belief, do not send them back to the disbelievers. They are not lawful wives for them, nor are the disbelievers their lawful husbands. Nor are the disbelievers their lawful husbands. Give the disbelievers whatever bride gifts they have paid. If you choose to marry them, there is no blame on you once you have paid their bride gifts. And do not yourselves hold on to marriage ties with disbelieving women. Ask for repayment of the bride gifts you have paid, and let the disbelievers do the same. This is God's judgment. He judges between you. God is all-knowing and wise. If any of you have wives who leave you for the disbelievers, and if your community subsequently acquires gains from them, then pay those whose wives have deserted them the equivalent of whatever bride gift they paid. Be mindful of God in whom you believe. Prophet ﷺ, when believing women come and pledge to you that they will not ascribe any partner to God, nor steal, nor commit adultery, nor kill their children, nor lie about who has fathered their children, nor disobey you in any righteous thing, then you should accept their pledge of allegiance and pray to God to forgive them. God is most forgiving and merciful. You who believe, do not take as allies those with whom God is angry. They despair of the life to come as the disbelievers despair of those buried in their graves.
Okay, here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, why is this verse revealed? Asma radiallahu anha, her mother, was the first wife of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. She was still a non-Muslim. So she came to visit her in Medina, and she gave her a gift. And Asma radiallahu anha, she didn't know what to do. she didn't know, can I accept this gift or not? So she said that, okay, leave it here. I'm not going to take it until I ask the Prophet ﷺ whether I can take something from you or not. So the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that He does not forbid you to deal kindly and justly with anyone who has not fought you for your faith or driven you out of your homes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the just. Right? Then she realized that, no, she's my mother, she's not on the same faith as me, but there are human considerations here. So she accepted the gift, and the Muslims as a lesson for everybody. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbids us to be allied, right, with those who fight people because of our religion, or fight others because of their religion, who attack people because they're Islam and they're Muslim. Right? We can't be allies with them, we can't support them in doing any of these things. Does that mean that we can't, like if we have something, that we can't send them a gift as a neighbor or things like that? No, we still have good contact with them. Okay? Everybody understand the difference here? But when it comes to science, they say, okay, I need your support, I want to go out and fight these Muslims. No, we don't support any of that. But we still have good contact with them as humans, as neighbors, they still have rights on us. But our brothers in faith also have rights on us, and our faith takes precedence over these things. Right? If it's an issue about a neighbor, right? Well, neighborly duties will take care of them, right? Mow their lawn, send them goodies, send them gifts, whatever. But if it comes time that they say that, look, I don't want anything to do with you unless you support this bill or this legislation, and it's anti-Muslim, right? Saying that Sharia is, not Sharia is bad, but something which is completely anti-Islam, right? Then you say, look, you are human, we disagree on this, but I'll still be kind to you, we still have good relationship, but I can't support this action. And this is something we have to be very careful about, because sometimes people think it's all or nothing. No, we have principles. We have to stick to our principles, but we don't lose the human conduct and the human interaction either. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, okay, what happens if the believing woman comes from Mecca? You have to test their iman. Who do they believe? They believe in Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, then if they still have husbands over there on the other side, you have to give them back their Mecca. And then if a Muslim woman goes and she goes to Mecca and she doesn't want to believe, she wants to go and be with the mushrikun, then it's required that then you ask for the mahr back for her. Right? So the mahr has to be given back here. This is what I mentioned. And then after that, give the disbelievers whatever bride gives, they have paid. That means mahr, if you choose to marry them, there's no blame on you once you have paid their bride gifts. So if a Muslim woman comes from another place and she has gotten her mahr, her mahr is given back to the mushrikun, then their iddah time passes. It is permissible for a Muslim man to marry her, but he has to give her mahr as well. Okay, so this is mentioned here. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that, okay, what is the pledge of allegiance, right, that they have to take with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? What is the test? When believing women come to you, that they will not commit shirk, they will not steal, nor commit adultery, nor kill their children, nor lie about who has fathered their children, nor disobey any righteous thing. Then you should accept their pledge. That's not the test. If they agree to these things, accept their pledge, seek forgiveness for them. Then do not take as allies those with whom Allah is angry. They don't have any care about the life of the akhirah. They've despaired. قَدْ يَئِسُوا مِنَ الْآخِرَةِ كَمَا يَئِسَ الْكُفَّارُ مِنْ أَصْحَابِ الْقُبُورِ. Don't make allies with people that have made this world their complete goal, and they don't have any moral consideration. They don't have any moral responsibility. They don't understand the consequences of their actions. You're going to have to pay for it the hereafter. Don't take them as allies. Alright, the next surah is Surah Saf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this surah, He mentions a little bit about Musa alayhi salam, a little bit about Isa alayhi salam, a little bit about how people want to extinguish the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it will never be extinguished. Then He talks about how Isa alayhi salam's supporters and helpers, the ones that were righteous, they helped him and supported him, and how we have to help and support the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. Yeah. Yes, this is true. This is Ayah 7 does mean that. That you are It is very أسأل الله أن يجعل بينكم وبين الذين عاديتم منهم مودة والله قدير والله غفور رحيم. Never think that anybody is beyond the mercy and the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is possible that the person that was your enemy today can be your closest friend tomorrow. Okay? But what's the condition? That they need to believe in Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If they say, okay, look, if you want to be friends with me, I'll stop all my enmity, hatred towards you, but just don't believe in Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We say no. But we still have hope in that person, hope for that person, make dua for them, and it is possible Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may guide that person and give them hidayah. And that's very possible. That has happened, as the sister mentioned, Khalid bin Walid, Abu Sufyan, many companions, radiallahu anhu, Amr ibn al-As, radiallahu anhu. Amr ibn al-As, radiallahu anhu, he was the companion, he was the person, sorry, at this time it was a companion, that the mushrikun sent to Abyssinia to go and talk to Najashi to send the Muslims back. And there was a time later where the Prophet ﷺ treated him in such a way that he thought that the Prophet ﷺ loved him more than any other companion. And then he went to the Prophet ﷺ and he said that, who do you love the most? So the Prophet ﷺ said, Aisha. So Ibn al-As said, this is not the kind of love I'm talking about. Right? Out of the men. He said, Abuha. Abuha meaning the father of Aisha radiallahu anha. But you see the interaction, meaning Abu Bakr radiallahu anha. You see the interaction the Prophet ﷺ had with him, right? So look, as soon as a person says the Shahada, they could have been doing whatever, but that precedes everything else. They become our brothers in faith. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to tell us here, that look, the only reason Ibrahim alayhi salam had the enmity towards, had the dispute between him and his family, is because of the unwillingness and the persecution that he faced because he worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he still made dua for his father during his lifetime. It's permissible. Right? During a person's lifetime, even a disbeliever, it's permissible to make dua for their hidayah. After they pass away, then we cannot.
Surah urging the believers to stick together in support of God's cause, hence the title of the surah. It criticizes those who broke their word and those who argued against faith. Musa and Isa are cited as examples of prophets whose communities were divided. The rebellious were left astray and the faithful granted success. The rewards of those who strive in God's cause are described in some detail. Isa's disciples are cited as an example of commitment. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. Everything in the heavens and earth glorifies God. He is the Almighty, the wise. You who believe, why do you say things and do not do them? It is most hateful to God that you say things and then do not do them. God truly loves those who fight in solid lines for His cause, like a well-compacted building. Musa said to his people, my people, why do you hurt me when you know that I am sent to you by God? When they went astray, God left their hearts to stray. God does not guide rebellion.